All aboard your tech and games caboose. We had Google with their live stream of Stadia, their new game streaming platform, which has a lot of features that we're going to have to go over pretty quick. It was an hour-long live stream, a little bit over. So basically, Stadia, the future of gaming, is not a box. So this is shooting at you, PS4 and Xbox One X. So you can sign up to get some more information. There's a little bit of a trailer, but it's basically all combined in real quick. Game where you want to on any device. New ways to play through YouTube and beyond, so you can click little links and get little streamer codes and everything. Up to 4K 60 FPS. We'll see how well that goes. Pretty high demands. Play instantly, no downloads, so basically there's going to be no storage, and always getting better. So cloud's going to get more powerful, and there's some multi-GPU talk going on. So let's jump into the big event. So basically we're going to see a little bit of a trailer. It goes through some gamers and everyone doing their fun entertainment stuff and a bunch of social aspects around gaming. It's a pretty cool little trailer. They show the controller being used for a quick second somewhere in here, as well as some other cool little tidbits like the Style ML. Here it is. So you can basically take a picture and stylize a bunch of grayscale gaming. So pretty interesting for the trailer. And then a small little recap of Project Stream, which was the test in 2018. So they did Assassin's Creed through streaming online. You could just click and play, and basically this was at 1080p 60 FPS. They did Assassin's Creed, so they did some cool streaming basically, and it looked like pretty good streaming for gaming. So we'll see how like more competitive, less latency requirements for like professionals need for shooting games and stuff, but we'll see how that goes. We talk a little bit about latency a little later too. So basically the goal for Stadia is at 3130. So we're going to basically see, you can click a little play button on YouTube, they can come through text links and a bunch of other places, and you'll be able to, within 5 seconds is the goal, is be able to start playing. So I'm not sure how that would include purchasing the game and everything else. That might take an extra step, or you could auto info your bank stuff, but instant access would be pretty cool for getting into a new game. No download, no 5-hour download and everything. So pretty cool concept for cloud gaming in a way. And then here is a little bit of how you can play at 3340. They have a little device demo. So within about a minute, he switches from a laptop to a phone with a controller. It looks like a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi controller, and then onto a desktop computer. They purchased the least hardware expensive computer. So basically it's not really using much hardware. So again, all in the cloud through the computing of the gaming. And then they switched to a tablet and even a TV, all within about a minute. So it's pretty quick to switch devices and to get into the game that you already have. So pretty impressive there. And then talking about controllers a little bit more, at 3535 we get to see the Stadia controller. So this is going to work with pretty much any Bluetooth or Wi-Fi controller most likely. And then you can also get the Stadia controller, which is their own controller, which is going to be shown with a little Google Assistant button. So there's going to be 4 buttons, a D-pad on the left, 2 joysticks, a couple of buttons in the middle, some power buttons and menus, and then the Google Assistant button basically in the middle will help you be able to get game guides and everything and search for stuff while you're playing the game to try to beat it. If you're stuck at a certain part and you can't get through the end level, then this will help you. We'll go through that maybe a little more later. They should talk about it more. And this is all, again, we mentioned at the beginning, 4K 60 FPS, 3935. We get to see the project at 2018 was at 1080p, and now they're going to be at launch for Stadia 4K 60 FPS HDR. And they're going to even plan a little bit higher in the future. They're going to be reaching towards 8K and 120 FPS. I'm not sure 120 FPS at 8K or like 120 at 4K. So that could be pretty interesting in the future. We'll see how long that takes, but 8K, there's a couple TVs in Japan that have a TV station that they can watch. Other than that, it could be quite a few years, 2020, 2025. We'll have to wait for 8K streaming for games. That's pretty intense. And what else do we have? We actually have some other streaming info for this. So you'll be streaming a game at 4K 60 FPS, and there will be a simultaneous stream of a video on YouTube, so someone can go watch you. You can link it to your friends, or you can actually just be streaming as a game streamer. You're a creator, and people can watch at 4K 60 FPS. So 2 streams going on, you're playing, and other people are watching the stream. So a lot of crazy GPU power is going to be needed for all this good stuff. And that leads us into, I guess, what everyone's been waiting for, 4155. We get to see some specs. So the Stadia is going to have a GPU running 10.7 teraflops of power going on, and then this goes into versing the PS4 Pro and Xbox One, which are at 4.2 and 6.0 teraflops. So you could be saying, oh, well, PS5's coming out and Xbox 2's coming out. Well, there's a little bit of a talk about multi-GPU for Stadia. So this would obviously go a lot higher and have a lot more power. And this would enable developers not to be constrained on working on one console at a time and all that good, bad, either way stuff. So other mentions, Unity, Unreal Engine, and a bunch of other partners are being mentioned. Some Havoc engines and everything else. AMD, I believe, is powering the GPUs in the data center for Google, for Stadia. So that is pretty cool. And then there's a couple of different ways you can develop for this. You can use their cloud data center, obviously, which you'll be gaming on, or you can do your own cloud and start developing for it, or at your desktop, your little Stadia box. Not sure any pricing on any of these for developers or whatnot, but pretty interesting for creating stuff. And then we get to see Doom is mentioned at 4455. We get to see Doom running Doom External. That's not the name, but 4K 60 FPS Eternal. So there we go, not external, oops. And then also we get to see some multi-GPU, which we were just talking about, at 4750. So we get to see, this is a little bit more of a benchmark thing as a demo. So they're doing some intense water. And you see just a slight stutter on the actual water. Again, this is an actual game. This is like hard, intense benchmarking is what they're kind of showing. And they're showing multi-GPU is showing a lot smoother water. You'd have to slow it down a little more to get the actual differences, but it looks pretty smooth on both. And then you can see a little bit in the water, but pretty intense there. And that leads us into some latency for multiplayer, which is the big thing that all gamers are interested in and need good latency. So basically what they are saying here is in normal gaming, you'll have your local players being connected to the game servers, going through the public internet, and different latency issues can arise, and poor latency basically. And when you're playing multiplayer, everyone's playing kind of at the lowest person's latency. So when someone disconnects, like in For Honor at the beginning of launch, everyone would have a pause screen and everything. That's slightly different, but that's just something I ran into myself, so pretty cool. So not cool, I guess, but basically Google is going to, this is all going to be run through the backbone of Google, so Game Player ISP all the way to Google Data Center. So this should be enabling low latency and more consistent latency and predictableness. So that is a good benefit there, as well as game developers can integrate more physics because everyone's on the same latency, different physics things could work better, as well as lower latency could potentially do from 100 player battle royales all the way to 1,000 is one of their examples given. Since they're all on the same latency pretty much, you can get a lot more games going on, players and everything being connected without any interference with each other and all that crazy good stuff. So at 49.45, we get to see some other cool things with cross-platform play. So you can play mobile, you can play computer, you can play on, I guess, consoles. I'm not sure how that would connect to any of the cross-platform plus play, or people not playing on the streaming service. So then there could be some other latency issues. We'll have to see how that all works out, or if they're separated a little bit. If they can optimize that well enough for people not using the service, but we'll have to see how game developers go about that with Stadia and everything. So interesting there. And then at 52.50, we get to see some actual features going on at 52.50. Where are we? 52.20, excuse me. So we get to see Stream Connect. Here's one of the cool features that they're going to be doing with game streaming. So split screen hasn't really been a thing they've been saying because more hardware is needed to run at the different resolutions and everything, but they're going to be able to do different modes so developers will be able to put different streams up going on. If you're game streaming and you want to see someone else's view, you can also do different game designs where someone's actually playing from above you and they can maybe see your view and you're playing at the lower level. So this is an interesting game idea they're doing here. And then they take it a little bit further. They can add as many streams as you want, so you can view all this while you're playing on your single screen. and different ways you can use that. And then there could be a third player who's dropping stuff into the actual game, and then you're both now interacting with that. And that is a pretty cool example they're showing. I believe this game might be coming. I missed the name of it, but that is basically Stream Connect, a lot of cool split screen interactions. You could be playing the new Battlefield Firestorm, and basically you could get a recorded camera of someone else playing, and you can then find out where you want to drop your missile or something interesting like that when that comes out. That's not coming out soon for the Stadia part, but whatever, that's beside the point. And another cool feature at 5545, we get to see style transfer machine learning. So this is pretty interesting. They're basically going to be able to take a picture in a game running in like a gray box scale. Is going to be able to take that picture, basically take all the interesting colors and throw it into everything. So you get some pretty cool colors, and then here's a bunch of moons on the ground, some blue sky effects going through, and you just take one picture and it does it all for you. Here's some sketching design going on, and there's another cool one they mentioned which is their favorite as well, and that is some good old Pac-Man. And it looks like a totally different game at this point, but he's running through and turning around, and all the buildings are Pac-Man designed. Crazy, pretty cool. And that leads us into another more interesting feature for gamers. 5815, we get state share, and this is for like people creating, or I guess you could just do it with your friends as well, but you'll be able to take a code link of the game, depending on if the developers enable it or not. But you could be at a certain point in the game with a certain amount of health in a certain position, obviously with certain items in your inventory, and you can share this link with your friends, and they basically can start at the same point as you. Maybe you're in a difficult position and you want to challenge other people, or you're streaming and you want to share this to everyone watching you and to play afterwards and do the exact same thing you just did. So a lot of different potential stuff with this that you could do, and you could it's just a link, you click on it and you open it up in, again, whatever device you're using, and you're at that point, and it could be pretty interesting for creators, or you just want to share it with some friends, I guess. That could be pretty good. And then that leads us into crowd play, some more interesting features at 102.25. Crowd play. So basically you're watching on YouTube and you're watching someone stream, and down in the little corner you can say join this game, and then it puts you in line. You're third in line. You'll have to wait until it's your turn to jump in and play with either your favorite streamer, or just maybe friends playing and who's also streaming, and you just are now watching their stream and jump in. You got a minute to join once your spot in line is ready. So pretty interesting. This is NB2K, I believe. So pretty cool if you enter into game streaming and like to play with streamers, your favorite streamer, because you watch them and you like to play games. And then also at 107.25, we're going to talk a little bit more about the controller and the Google Assistant part. There's some issues with the stream, looks like, but basically with the controller, their Stadia controller, you just click the middle button, the Google Assistant button, and you say, how do I beat this tomb? And then it'll give you top search results for different things going on there. So a little bit easier of a step than what you may have had to do with a phone on your side or whatever web browser you might have on your TV. So pretty handy controller if you like to use Google Assistant a lot. So there you go there. And then at 108.20, which is kind of interesting, the Stadia Store is basically everywhere. So if you're on YouTube and you're watching a game release trailer and you want to hit play now, the play now button, then you can just jump in. You basically could buy it then through Stadia. It looks like through text messages, you would get the Stadia link and you can click the button and you could then just start jumping into the game, purchase it, and then play immediately. Or Discord links, basically anywhere you can share a link, you could buy through the Stadia Store in a way. So pretty interesting to see that there, and that's pretty cool. And then at 109.10, we get some final little announcements. Stadia Games and Entertainment. So this is the first party game studio for Google basically, and they're going to be developing some things, it looks like. So that is pretty interesting. We'll have to see what comes out of that. And some more last minute stuff. 113.05, we get to see devs, partners, and public. So stadia.devs, you can start signing up for some of the different sign up things, apply now to start developing for Stadia, as well as Stadia partners, and then stadia.com for the public. You can get some information out of this. You can sign up to be when it's coming, which is, it's mentioned that it's coming in 2019, which is the very final and last announcement. So that is pretty soon. It's this year. We got a couple months to wait, and we'll have to see how this game streaming goes with low latency, how different game developers decide to use it, and how well it clicks from just play now, and if you can get in 5 seconds. And it's coming to US, Canada, UK, and Europe. So a lot of cool game streaming coming. We'll have to see how this does against NVIDIA's GeForce streaming that's also coming. And then we have a bunch of other streaming stuff as probably other competitors are going to be jumping into the field too. And then we'll have to see how PS4, PS5 does, and if Xbox does their game streaming as well, with if they do another console, or we'll see how that goes. But pretty interesting for Google and game streaming in general. We have Mark saying very smooth, brah. Apparently you like game streaming, you like how I'm delivering the game streaming at least. So a lot of information, and if you want some more, you can check out the whole live stream. I did some timestamps. We'll leave a link to this actual comment, and you can jump through it yourself if you want to get some more in-depth information. And that's about all the announcements for Google's Stadia game streaming, and we'll have to hear more and when it's actually set for a date. But with that, I guess we will be signing out with another episode tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific with some more tech and game news. And pew 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 pew.